All right, Clint's progression up to this point, is he where you'd like him to be?
Yeah, I mean, probably a little bit ahead of what I envisioned, really. I mean, he's really, a year makes a big difference when the mental makeup of a quarterback. There's no doubt he'll tell you that, too. It has a lot to do with the experience around him, too. I mean, having a lot of capable bodies around you, a quarterback helps, especially up front. I mean, I would give those 5 guys are doing a great job up front, which makes our job a lot easier.
Even though he didn't play during the spring, how much did he gain anything just by observing, being on the field?
Russell?
No, I'm not asking you. Well, not until, you know, a few
I'm
weeks
just
from
playing
now.
with you.
I know you are. Yeah.
Ask it again. I got confused.
Did it help him to just to observe and be on the field?
I think it did. I mean, obviously, you'd want him to take. I think want him to take reps in the spring in hindsight, but he's got a pretty good mind for the game, and it's not like. And I tell even the younger kids right now that aren't taking reps. I mean, you can sit out there and pout and waste time if you want to when you're not taking reps, or you can take mental reps and be involved mentally. Which, I mean, he did obviously do that in the spring, a lot of meeting time and stuff like that too. Reps would have been most ideal, but I think he took advantage of his, of his time off by at least being involved and being focused, which helps.
Clint was saying yesterday, the time it took for him to understand the offense may have taken, the better part of an entire year. Do you feel like he's got a better grasp on it now?
Yeah, no doubt. I just think it's such a different, the way we program him versus what he's been doing in the past when he got here was just so much different. Getting the ball out quicker, seeing leverage. I mean, we put a lot on the quarterback as far as making decisions quickly. A lot of times when you're trying to play fast, the information you have is only a short amount of time information. So, it takes a little bit of getting used to a quarterback to be able to see leverage and stuff that quick. And I think that it does take a little while. I mean, being comfortable getting the ball out, the footwork's probably a little bit different. You can sit there and do drills all you want all day, and when you're just focused on those simple dynamics of that specific drill, it's easy. But then when you go out and when it's live bullets and when your natural instincts take over, so you got to rep it enough to where when you go out there it becomes natural, and so it takes a little bit of time.
Shannon, are you happy with the way the tempo is running with the offense right now?
I think it's good. I do. I mean, I don't think it's ever exactly where you want it. I mean, you can look. I mean, even I can look in the past, and you always strive to get better because you're trying to push the limits. Not that we're always trying to play fast, but when you do want to play fast, you want to get those guys lined up as quick as possible. Those guys up front are getting lined up extremely quick right now, but we're going to keep pushing the limits of that. I mean, you never get it where you want it, but pretty pleased with what they've been doing the last couple of days. It's kind of it goes up and down like everything in practice. I mean, we'll have one practice where you look at it, you're like, dadgum, those guys are getting lined up fast. But you got to keep your finger on it too, because it's natural to let things lax if you don't. So you got to keep the gas on them. You got to keep pressing them to get lined up. And ultimately, it's about my meeting room. I mean, if those guys aren't getting lined up the way we want to, I blame it on the quarterback. That's his job is to keep pushing those guys. And so we're going to keep stressing that.
You feel like the perception is. You feel like Clint's doing a good job with that right now?
I do. Yeah, I do. I think you probably lose focus like every third or fourth day of it. And you got to go back and remind, this is what we want. But overall, I would say he's been doing a good job of that. And it really hadn't been that big of an issue where he's had to get involved in too much, because I think those guys have taken it upon themselves to get lined up quickly. So the more they can do that, the less we got to think about, really.
The perception is that Alabama and its state has problems with the hurry-up, no-huddle. Do you look at them and see that?
I'll be honest, I hadn't looked at them much. I mean, we really don't game plan anybody. We've done it every camp until like the last weekend. I mean, I've watched the ESPN games and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'd have a hard time answering that question until I really looked at it. From what I saw, I mean, watching them play in the past, I mean, the teams that scored a lot of points on them, really made plays. It's not like they were uncovered. They really did a good job of A&M, the Evans receiver. I mean, but he didn't do that just versus them. He did it all year. And so, I mean, with the nature of defenses like Alabama, I mean, you're going to be covered. I mean, you got to make plays while you're covered. So, I mean, they're going to do a good job covering you.
With a 3-4 base scheme, which is kind of what they are, is that unusual to what you see? Do you see a lot of that?
We're seeing it every day right now. So
I mean, during the course of the year, usually you don't as much.
we probably see it. I mean, Oklahoma's went to that. I mean, Texas is probably going to be more of a 4-down front now. So it's probably about half and half, really. Kansas is a 3-down front. Kansas State's a 4-down front. TCU's a 4-down. It's probably half and half.
Right.
I mean, typically people have 3-down fronts in their package, regardless if they're a 4-down front team or not. But there are those teams that are just straight odd teams. And so probably see it 4 times a year, probably 4 or 5.
When you think of a Nick Saban defense, what do you think of?
You know, I mean, aggressive. You know, I mean, typically they're extremely solid against the run, and he'll bring from the past studying him. He'll bring a lot of back end blitzes. You know, people that aren't typically in your protection, safeties and stuff like that. And so bringing pressure, there's a unique way of bringing pressure, really, and you know, and really not, you know, their main focus is to not let you run the football. So, yeah.
Coach, talking to Clint yesterday, and he indicated that his level of confidence is night and day compared to his best game last year. So do you get that same feeling for the entire offense, or just, you know?
I do. I mean, I'm not ready to pat him on the back quite yet. I mean, it's still, we haven't gotten a first down. But I do think his overall level of comfort is high. And I think that, you know, there's a lot of factors in that. I think one huge factor is that he's comfortable with the people around him. You know, Mario and Kevin are doing a great job of understanding. Their routes are way better. Their understanding of the offense is way better. You know, Squirt and DeKill are right there on the same page. The biggest deal is those guys up front are doing a great job right now. So I mean, it's not getting any pressure. You know, there's times where it breaks down, but overall, you know. So I mean, I think there's a lot of factors in it, but typically with any player, the biggest factor is reps. The more reps you take, typically the better you're going to get at it. And our job as coaches is to stay consistent too, because I mean, consistent reps are important. Repping the same stuff. I mean, the more we try to change stuff, you know, the less the reps are meaningful. And so we have to do a good job of having a capacity for boredom and just sticking to our stuff and just repping so they can get as good as they can get.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.